Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into today's video because we are still talking about Nastassja Jansen. So just to put it out there, I still maintain that Nastassja Jansen is innocent of all of this drama that is taking place in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, and I still believe that the MPA is going to drop all charges against her, as there is no case against her. All we have heard is that there's no link between her and everything that Matwara and together with these other three accomplices have executed. So yesterday, Chriselda Lewis of the SABC had an exclusive interview where I was two thoughts about it, because I thought, you were ordered by the magistrates not to talk directly or indirectly with witnesses, and that interview might get interpreted as though it was an indirect contact with state witnesses and potential state witnesses, which we know they are your colleagues, and after hearing that, that might actually influence them in a different way. But that's just me thinking. But at the same time, I appreciated that exclusive interview because we got to hear finally what her part was in this entire saga, and I was shocked at what she had to share. And so I do have some notes down here on my thinking of how this whole thing that I was hearing she was sharing was sounding like in my head. The first thing that I could not help myself ask myself is, so she was cooperative with the police and the investigation, and she does mention that she fully cooperated. She gave them everything that they wanted, whether it's a statement or some piece of evidence. She handed them over to the investigating officers until they came to her home and asked her to come with them, goodness where, and only to arrest her on a certain street. So my question is, isn't entrapment against the law in South Africa? Because that sounded to me like an entrapment. Secondly, when they informed her that she's actually getting arrested without being informed, by the way, did they read her rights? Those are the things that are very important. Technicalities here. We need to ensure that this lady does not go spend time in prison for something she did not do or knew about. So those very questions are very important to be answered in the High Court if she is still an accused. So the second thing that she mentioned was the control room. She says she only remembers opening the gate for her superior, whom we all know now it is Matwara. It is Matwara. That is the supervisor that was on duty the night that she was on duty, and she says she remembers opening only for him, and when he came to the control room running and informed them that there was fire in cell 35. And of course, she does mention the procedure of how things work at Mangaung Correctional Center, that no subordinates are allowed to do as they please. So you can't open gates nilly-willy. There has to be a supervisor at a certain point where the supervisor needs to investigate something or see something or confirm something. And in this case, cell 35 was on fire, and the only way she could open cell 35 was if there was a supervisor there. And so Matwara was there. So she had no reason to deny him access into cell 35. And also, the other part that really shocked me, and I did mention this in my previous videos where I said, what are the chances that when Thabo Bester, remember he ran across the prison courtyard with Dipulo, and how do we know, or what are the chances that Nastassja had taken a smoke break if she smoked? What if she went to the little lady's room? If she went to the little lady's room, what if she was sent somewhere by her superior, and in that interval while she was away from her duty, that is when the execution of Thabo Bester's escape happened, because we do see him running across the courtyard of the prison together with Dipulo. So then she says the only person she remembers opening for is Matwara, which is the supervisor. She doesn't mention names, is her supervisor. And we know that the supervisor on that night that was on duty was Matwara. The other thing that concerned me was her memory loss. Her memory loss then made me think, oh my goodness, of everything, every scenario that I thought about, I never thought that her drink could get spiked with something that will make her lose her memory. So the question is, applicant number 4. I'm sorry, again, I decided not to mention people's names because I butcher people's names. So applicant number 4 apparently was the person that always make drinks or like coffee for the rest of them. And that particular night, he had made coffee for Nastassja. So then this man that I was thinking, you should get bail too, is probably one of the most evil person I know. That is, if he spiked her drink, because she does not have memory of what happened after she had opened for Matwara. That's suspicious to me. And I think any logical thinking person will also be asking the same thing, or at least thinking the same thing, that she was drugged. So the other thing that she mentioned in the interview is the fact that for 3 months, she did not know that Thabo Bester had escaped. As a matter of fact, she did not know that they had a prisoner that had escaped in May. She was shocked when the investigators, in fact, when she was called for the disciplinary thing that took place at G-Force, that there was an escape on the 3rd of May 2022 when she was on duty, and she was shocked. I mean, I'll be shocked too, especially when I knew nothing of what had happened on that particular night, except to remember that I opened for the supervisor. Secondly, there was a fire, and that fire was taken care of after other superiors were involved. So to hear that there was that body that was burned beyond recognition was not Thabo Bester. As a matter of fact, DNA, she was informed about the DNA results that said that the person or the body that was burned beyond recognition was not that of Thabo Bester. And so, of course, she was shocked. I'll be shocked too, because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we lost a prisoner. And this prisoner was one of the most dangerous prisoners that we have in this facility. So to hear that actually he had escaped using a decoy body to escape with the assistance of her colleagues and herself implicated in that, that should have been very, very concerning and scary for her. And the breaking part for me about her interview was when she was sharing about how she was dragged into this saga without even knowing what had happened. And this entire saga now is dragging her entire family, including her daughters. And I was also consoled to hear that her daughters does believe her, because people know her. I think there was a subscriber who also shared a very mini story about Nastassja in the comment section and said, that's not Nastassja. Nastassja would never do something like that. She was raised properly, and she is quite, she takes her job very seriously. And so definitely she's not guilty of whatever it is that she's being accused of. And I believe that that subscriber. I believed her because I was looking and watching Nastassja the entire time as they were being brought in and out of court. And I kept asking myself, you know, a guilty person, you can tell that they are guilty, but this woman, she showed innocence through and through. And not because she was acting it, but she was oozing it. You know, she was oozing the innocence. And I was like, I need to hear her story. What is up with her? How did she get herself involved in something like this, if she did? And now I'm convinced that she is innocent. And of course, any person, any employer takes instructions from their superiors. I took instructions today, even though I may not have liked the instructions that I took today, but I did because it is from my superior. All that I do at the end of the day is write a report and say, where did I get this instruction from and how I executed it and how I reported my execution on the particular instructions that I got. Every one of us. Otherwise, if you are not going to adhere to the instructions of your superiors, then you are insubordinate. That means you don't take your job seriously and you think you are special than all the other employees that work for the company that you work for or business that you work for. So I do believe that indeed she followed the instructions that she was ordered by her superior. And we know that it is Matwara. You know the pain of discovering that your colleagues would do you dirty like this and end up spending 29 days in jail just because they did something that you knew nothing about, and they still say nothing to the investigators to say, hey, it's just the four of us. That lady, we thought we were being smart by excluding her, but she's innocent. Please let her go. None of them is saying that, including the guy that she was in the control room with her. Why is it quiet? I don't get it. He received 14,000 rand. She received nothing. And he knows this. They all know this. Matwara knows this. Why is he not saying anything about the lack of her involvement in this entire escape of Thabo Bester? I don't get it. Why are they so heartless? Can somebody explain to me why these people would drag an innocent person to prison? Why would you do something like that? Unless you're telling me you are so evil and so heartless and not blood that runs through your vein, your vessels, but cold ice. Like, I don't get it. Please, somebody explain that to me. I'm confused on that one. And then the other part that also got me really, really upset was when she shared about her dismissal at G4S. How the company, after discovering, or probably when they were being approached by Judge Cameron regarding the escape of a prisoner, Thabo Bester, then they needed a fall guy. And she so happened to be a fall person for the company, a sacrificial lamb, if you have to put it that way. And it's just unfortunate because I think they also know for a fact that even though she was on duty that particular night, she was not involved, but they needed somebody to fall for this because Nastassja, she does also share that she was even called by an executive of the company and threatened her. So this tells you that people in high places knew about this, and not only did they know that Thabo Bester had escaped, but they knew and they were part and parcel of the Matwaras in them. Because remember, Matwara was promised 2.5 million rand, where the other money was going to go to, because others got 40,000 and 14,000. He got 140,000 or something like that. So what about the rest? Where the rest was going to go to? So if she got a call from an executive of G-Force threatening her, then that means that executive needs to be investigated. That executive needs to explain themselves as to why did you call Nastassja and why did you threaten her and why didn't you just let it go after dismissing her? Because I think the call was about don't say anything to anybody because we know big people. I don't know. Whatever the call was about, I think if she's still an accused, we're going to hear this in her trial. And if she's a state witness, we're also going to hear this in a trial. I still think that executive person needs to be arrested. So Chriselda Lewis asked her about her innocence or involvement. Nastassja Jansen, and I believed her. I still believe her. She says she maintains that she's innocent. She's not involved in this entire aiding and abetting of Thabo Bester's escape. I believe her. I believe her. I also liked how she elaborated about the fact that she is a mother of 2 daughters. Why would she open a prison cell and let go of an rapist and murderer out of prison? Because what if this person comes and hurt her children? And what about the mothers of the girls that he hurt? So I understood and I believed her, and I know that any mother would have done what she did. Not open a prison cell for a dangerous criminal who has an agenda against women. So I believe her. So here's my final thought on the interview. After listening to Nastassja Jansen's part of the story as to how she got dragged into this mess, it is clear that these four men who did not get bail yesterday, did have a conversation about how do we get rid of Nastassja, because she takes her job seriously. Because if we roped her in, she would have said no, and on top of that, go and report us, because they know how strict she is. That is why, even though she was there, they need to cook up a plan on how to get rid of her, or at least temporarily get rid of her, and probably her drink getting spiked, or maybe she was sent elsewhere, or maybe they waited for her to go to the little lady's room and then quickly did the execution, and the Thabo Bester was out without her even knowing. And when she opened the gates, for people who are wearing the G-Force security uniform. She had no reason to doubt that those were her colleagues that she was opening the gates for. Besides, it's around 3 in the morning. Prisoners are asleep. Why would any prisoner would be walking about? Because they should be on lockdown at this point. So, of course, the only people that are free to move about in that jail, in that prison, are the employees of the correctional center, which is the G-Force securities. So she had no reason to doubt that those were her colleagues that she needed to open for. Unless I'm missing something. And I think the NPA will definitely, I'm not saying they are, I think the NPA, after evaluating everything that has happened in court, in Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, they are going to drop the charges. They are definitely going to drop the charges. The magistrate did give them a hint that their case is porous, weak, doesn't hold water. Let her go. And that is going to be interesting to see in the next few days to come. I also want to address some people that came into my comment section and say, how did you know that she's innocent? Do you even know her? Of course I don't know her. Think about this. Let's say it was you or a member of your family that was in the same position as Nastassja Jansen. Wouldn't you want people like me to believe her or believe you? Wouldn't you want that? I understand that when there's a death next door, it doesn't pain you as much, but when the death happens inside at home, it's a different ball game. Think of it that way. And secondly, you must never think that to you, anything can happen to any of us at any given time. So to ask questions that are silly like that, you need to check yourself. Anyways, guys, this is it with this video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you did not like it, give it a like anyway. Leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody that is subscribing. I highly appreciate your support, and share this video far and wide. I will see you next time with a new video. Goodbye. Why am I doing this with my hands? I don't know. I think maybe because I just took a bath. Okay, bye.